Hello, my name is Tommy Murillo, and I'll be talking about the analogy between a house and a cell. This cell has components of both plants and animals. The nucleus is a big sac that contains information to build things throughout the cell. In every living organism, there is a nucleus in every cell. For the analogy, I chose a computer because it holds all the information that I need to build things around my house. The nucleolus in a cell is what holds the RNA within the nucleus to build all of the RNA instructions to build proteins outside of the cell. For this analogy, I chose the memory of a laptop because it holds all the information to build these sort of items, and it can leave the computer. The endoplasmic reticulum comes in two forms, smooth and rough. In both forms, they are used for transport throughout the cell. The rough version is used for transportation and has ribosomes that create proteins. For the analogy, I chose a servant because the servant can be used to transport things throughout a house, and it can also be used to make the things throughout the house. Ribosomes are like the tools of the house because they are used to build things. The ribosomes in a cell are used to build proteins, which are used to break down other enzymes and have many other functions. The smooth endoplasmic reticulum is like the security guard of the house because the smooth endoplasmic reticulum builds lipids for detoxification and which just fights off sort of like enemies. That's what a guard does for a house. He defends the cell and breaks down these enemies or sort of things. The Golgi apparatus is like the mailbox of the house because it allows people to send things out of the house and receive things through the mailbox. These things are usually in vesicles or boxes or maybe bags, such as the vesicle here, which is a trash bag. A vesicle is used for transport throughout the cell, so the bag can be transported throughout the cell, or it can be transported outside the cell as trash or just getting rid of, or for many other reasons. The chloroplast is used in plants for photosynthesis. In this analogy, I use solar panels because they have a similar function where they use sunlight to generate into ATP or energy, which will go down to the mitochondria. The mitochondria is like the generator of the cell because it produces energy throughout and distributes it so that all the functions can be used throughout the cell. The vacuole is only in a plant cell, and it is very huge as you can see in comparison with the others. It is sort of like an indoor pool that stores water. Truel is like my dad because he is the one who decides where everything goes, and that is exactly the function of the centriole. The lysosome is like my dog because the lysosome is used for self-destruct, just in case if anything goes wrong in my house, which is just like my dog. My dog will rip up anything and everything in sight at times. And a lysosome is also used for digesting and um, doing other sort of stuff to materials, which is just like my dog, who eats anything from shoes to actual human food. Cytoskeleton provides a structure, a rigid structure for the cell, and the cytoskeleton is just like the beams of the house because it provides a stiff structure and a strong one for the house. It also provides the foundation and shape as to what it will be. The cell wall in a cell is similar to the bricks because bricks provide sort of protection in outer shell of a house, but there are also always holes and stuff in bricks and like large holes for doors and for windows and stuff, just like pores in the membrane. which is right here, just like the windows and the doors and the brick wall. Diffusion is the tendency of molecules to move from a higher concentration area to an area of lower concentration. So if there were to be higher concentration outside this cell, the molecules would try to move in through the pores to get into the lower concentration area. That movement is called the concentration gradient. And there are two types of diffusion, passive and active. Passive is when it goes through freely, and there is no control over what goes through and what goes out, such as like air through a window. An open window could just flow through or flow out. And but then there's active transport, which is the other type of diffusion, where it requires energy. So that would be sort of like an animal that would require, or human, that would require energy to open the door and walk through and close the door behind them to make sure that nothing else goes in, and that's what it is. Endocytosis is when the cell wraps around sort of molecules that are outside the cell and joins them within the cell, while exocytosis is when those molecules are within it sort of breach out and they are released from the cell. The cytoplasm, or the cytosol, is basically the air of the cell, because there is air just everywhere in a house, and it takes up most of the room, and within a cell it serves no specific purpose except to take up the space between all of the organelles, and this is what it is in a house too. The air serves no direct purpose towards the computer or towards other sort of objects, but it's still there, and it still covers a large percentage of the cell. So this is my cell. Thank you for watching.